The city of Sudbury, Canada, sits on the edge of a large geographical basin, believed to be the remnants of a 1.85 billion-year-old meteorite impact crater. The basin is a rich source of copper and nickel ores, which gave rise to a massive mining industry in the late 19th century. The ores found in the basin also contain an unusually high concentration of sulfur. Local smelting of the ore releases sulfur dioxide gas into the atmosphere, where it combines with water vapor to produce acid rain. In the early 20th century, this devastated vegetation in and around the city. As a result, Sudbury was widely thought of as an industrial wasteland. In 1972, the super stack was constructed with the intention of dispersing emissions away from the city of Sudbury. This structure dramatically reduced the acidity of local precipitation. With the significant reduction in acid rainfall, the city of Sudbury was able to begin an environmental recovery program.
There have been two parts to the environmental problem that Sudbury has had to deal with in the last several decades. One is the acidic fumes, the acidic gases, particularly sulfur dioxide, which mixes with water vapor and raindrops and falls as acidic rain. The other ingredient, which is perhaps even more important and more long-lasting in its effects, is a fine dust of metals. When that metal fell on the landscape, it made the soil toxic, and plants couldn't grow in soil water that was so rich in metals. So the gases, the sulfur dioxide gases, killed off a lot of the vegetation.
One company making significant progress to re-green Sudbury is Vale, the world's second largest mining company. Sustainable stewardship is at the heart of the company's mission to transform mineral resources into prosperity and sustainable development.
Our operations have been in Sudbury for more than 100 years, and Vale is carrying on a long tradition of regreening and reclamation work that's happened since the 1970s. Vale partners with a number of people to make sure that we are returning the environment back to its natural state once we're finished operating there.
One of Vale's re-greening initiatives is the annual aerial seeding program started in 1990. Aerial seeding is a safe and effective way for the company to perform large-scale revegetation, especially in remote areas that are difficult to access by land. To date, more than 6,300 acres of land have been treated through this innovative program.
Aerial seeding is a land reclamation tool that Vale has been using in the Sudbury area for more than 20 years. We use agricultural aircraft to drop a payload of lime, grass seed, and fertilizer onto areas that have been historically stressed by mining activity. We treat 500 acres annually at the beginning of the fall to catch the growing season here in the Sudbury Basin.
This is the re-greening effort Vale is implementing at Big Nickel Mine Road, which was once a massive pile of black waste rock that is a byproduct from the company's smelting operations. This area has been undergoing re-greening since 2006, costing $7.5 million and covering over 70 acres of land.
The purpose of the slag re-greening project is to create a visually appealing green zone between our smelter facility and the adjacent community. The process begins by reshaping the slag faces to a slope of 3:1, which creates the conditions for grass to take root, as well as making the conditions safe for heavy equipment to work. Next, we place 45 centimeters of compacted clay. Once the clay is properly compacted, a hydraulic mix of grass seed and fertilizer is applied to the soil. This mix has proven successful in previous rehabilitation exercises and helps to enhance the biodiversity of the surrounding area.
In addition to these projects, Vale has partnered with the City of Greater Sudbury and other industry partners to implement a biodiversity action plan to continue ecological recovery efforts well into the future.
The City of Greater Sudbury has been re-greening the surrounding landscape since 1978. Since that time, it's planted over 9 million trees and it's reclaimed 3,400 hectares of land. There are still 35,000 hectares of land left to be re-greened. The Greater Sudbury community was heavily involved in the input into this biodiversity action plan. The biodiversity action plan really is designed to take us from simply planting trees on the landscape to aim towards healthy, self-sustaining forest ecosystems. In order to do that, we will be addressing the diversity of the plants in the forest ecosystem that up to now have been really limited in terms of species.
Every year, approximately 250,000 seedlings are grown at Vale's greenhouses, many of which were donated to the city of Greater Sudbury for the regreening operation. This perfectly demonstrates how deeply involved Vale is in the environmental recovery operation, working alongside community and government. And the company is dedicated to the project for the long term.
Over the next 5 years, we're embarking on a very aggressive emissions reduction program called the Atmospheric Emission Reductions Project, or AER project, and that's going to see current emissions level reduced a further 80% from levels they are now. This is going to have a significant impact on air quality in Sudbury and certainly complement the ongoing regreening and reclamation efforts in the basin here.
In 1992, the city of Greater Sudbury was one of 12 cities across the world given the Local Government Honours Award at the United Nations Earth Summit to honour the city's community-based environmental reclamation strategies.
From looking like Mars to looking like part of a national park. It's been an enormous difference. Part of what Sudbury's been very good at is teamwork. We just got on with the job and everybody's done their bit. And part of what's been very important about the company's contribution is that they've cut back on the acidity, they've cut back on the metal content of the emissions coming out of the stacks. Through a generation, several generations of different technology, the emissions have been reduced to something like 8% of what they were when I came to Sudbury in 1970.
The achievement of the city of Sudbury to regreen its damaged landscape is inspiring. And while there is still more to be done, initiatives by the public, local government and corporations like Vale mean the future of the city looks promising.